Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a review of Horizon Zero Dawn. I finished it recently on the PS5, and I know I'm about 6 years late to the party at this point, but if you are new to the channel here, let me explain this as I believe I've talked about it before in earlier videos when I started the channel. I bought a PS5 last summer, which was the first PlayStation I've technically owned since the PlayStation 2. I know, don't get mad. I converted the Xbox there for a long time. Now I'm a happy console owner of both an Xbox and a PlayStation, so it's all good. I love everybody. I'm neutral here. So it being so long in between having a PlayStation console, I have a lot of games that I need to play and catch up to, and that included the Uncharted series, the Last of Us games, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, just to name a few, and most recently I decided to try Horizon Zero Dawn, because I've heard a lot of hype about this game. Some say it's one of the greatest games to come out on the PS4, and others say it's one of the best open world games out there. So I figured, why not? Let's give it a shot. But I just want to say real quick before I dive into the video, just want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel, who's been stopping by, supporting, checking out the content. I recently hit 100 subscribers, and I'm just very happy to see this channel grow, seeing the comment sections grow, and just, I think it's really awesome to be able to build the community and bring people together to talk about stuff we love, whether it's video games, movies, shows, all that kind of content that I do cover on this channel. And of course, if you want to follow me on Twitter and TikTok as well, you could just look me up at analyzethis_YT. Now let's get back to the review. Horizon Zero Dawn is very unique in terms of gameplay and world. The whole concept of this game is cool, and nothing else I've ever played really compares. The game is set in the future where machines have turned against humans and have ravaged the planet. The planet was damaged so badly that humans have basically resorted back to the days of tribes and using bows and spears and just old types of weapons like that. The technology that reigns supreme are the corrupted machines that have basically taken over the world and continue to kill and harass the humans. And it's cool when you explore this world and you go around doing the different missions and whatnot, you do see ruins of the high-tech past that remain scattered throughout the map too. The character you play as is Aloy, who was banished from the Nora tribe and raised by a man named Rost, who was also banished. The game starts with Aloy as a child and gives you a tutorial that's a bit too long. It's like an hour long to play that tutorial and learn the game and whatnot, the controls and the gameplay. But at least from a storytelling standpoint, the elements for setting up the story and the cutscenes and whatnot, pretty good, pretty entertaining. To make a long story short, when Aloy is a bit older, she competes in the Proving. The Proving is her chance to become a Brave, which is basically a warrior of the Nora tribe. Aloy wins the Proving, but right after that, the tribe is attacked by a cult called the Eclipse, and Rost ends up sacrificing himself to save Aloy. The Eclipse are commanded by an evil AI called Hades, who ends up being the main villain in the game, along with Helis, who is the human leader of the cult and basically the right-hand man of Hades. Aloy was the target for this attack, and Aloy then confronts the matriarchs, who are basically the leaders of the tribe, and demands for them to tell her about her origins, because she was technically banished right from birth, and she doesn't know why, and so she wants to know this and just be educated on who her parents might have been, especially her mother. The matriarchs allow her to enter the All-Mother, which is hidden behind a locked vault. The door scans her and denies her entry due to data corruption. So, the All-Mothers anoint her as a seeker for the tribe. She's allowed to go explore the land and seek answers for herself, but she does also investigate and learn what is happening, especially with the Eclipse. A series of adventures take place for Aloy. You get to meet new characters and tribes along the way as you explore the entire world. You eventually meet someone named Sylens, who through your focus chip, which is a piece of futuristic technology that allows Aloy to communicate with Sylens, along with investigating scenes and finding tracks to find people and track the machines throughout the game. You can even scan machines to find weak points. And Sylens turns out to be an important character who helps Aloy along her journey. Now, I don't want to narrate the whole story for you, so let me give you the important parts and my opinions. This story is almost like a detective story. You go around talking to others, helping them with their issues, and they help you in return along the way. Sylens helps give Aloy info about the past and basically directs her to every major point of interest on the map where she can learn more about the past and this woman named Elizabeth Sobek, who she looks so much like. And I did find this story interesting to follow, but I felt like it did get repetitive, as basically you travel to all these old labs and locations from the old world where Sobek and other scientists and smart people were working on saving the planet, which was eventually going to lose all life because of the machines taking over, and there were factories where machines were basically making machines. So this continuous never-ending cycle of machines were being made, and they were all aggressive and corrupt. So eventually humans and animals were going to be overrun. And I learned everything via holograms. And while the story was interesting, like I said, I felt like I was playing Halo Infinite, where everything you're learning, all the backstories, all the characters, it's hologram and recording, hologram and recording. It just got old after a while. Like, I wish the missions didn't feel the same. Go to this old ruined location. Here's a couple of holograms. Here's a data recording to listen to. I'm okay with the detective investigative angle of this story, but I just wish, the environments would be different, or just the gameplay that surrounded it would change up and not be so repetitive. And I do think Zero Dawn falls into the same trap that every open world game seems to find, and that's, again, repetitive missions and gameplay loops. Both main quests and side quests feature the same things: find and save these people, hunt down these machines for their parts. Even though it does get repetitive, what saves it is the gameplay being so unique. It's the most unique part of the game. Using a spear and these different bows and other weapons to attack these machines is tricky, but also fun. The spear is weak until you upgrade it with skill points, and there technically are a few ways to upgrade your spear at the end of the game, and in the Frozen Wilds DLC. I'm a little bit disappointed that it takes getting to near the end of the game for you to be able to do this stuff. And I was almost done with the main story when I went to the Frozen Wilds DLC, did that, and got the actual modifications to put on the spear. If I would have known that, I would have probably done the Frozen Wilds DLC early on. That way I would be able to get that upgrade and actually make the spear worth something. And by the time you get enough skill points in and go throughout the skill tree, again, it would just take a long time. And I just wish that you were able to use the spear more, and they would give you more opportunities to upgrade it and not, again, have to wait till you're at least 50% done with the game. But there's different types of bows and other weapons that use arrows and bolts to attack enemies. For arrows and bolts you have fire, freeze, shock, corruption, just to name a few. There's other arrows, though, that are made from metal shards that are perfect for human enemies or are stronger from long range. You could also use other weapons like the blast sling, which is a slingshot that flings different types of bombs. The tripcaster allows you to shoot cables that tie down machines and immobilize them. This comes in handy especially against the bigger machines. There's other special weapons you can get off of enemies, like a machine gun turret type of weapon. There's other weapons you could shoot off with bombs and explosives off of the machines that you could in turn pick up and use against them. That's always fun, and sometimes those are the strongest weapons to use to take down some of the biggest machines in the game. So the weapon variety is actually cool, and you can even find weapon upgrades to add more damages and effects to the weapons, just like how I was talking about the modifications for the spear. Well, there's modifications for weapons and even the outfits. And there are different outfits in the game too. There's a nice variety of looks with the outfits, and just like the weapons, they each specialize in something different. And in this case, it's stealth or better resistance for damage that comes from fire or shock. So ultimately, there's a lot of different weapons which are cool, and you get to use different ones depending on what types of enemies you are going up against. So again, I keep talking about strategy. There is a nice amount of strategy to where you have to pick and choose, or you learn as you go, like, okay, this type of machine I need to use these types of arrows, or I need to use these two weapons that are the strongest against that type of enemy. I do like that. So let me wrap up the story real quick. After completing all the detective investigations at these old world locations, Aloy discovers she is a clone of Elizabeth Sobek. And that shocks her because she realizes, hey, I'm not a real human, I'm not of natural birth, I'm cloned. It was a big shock to her. But at the same time, she realizes that she's the chosen one to finish saving the planet, even though the machines are now ravaging all over the place. She learns that Hades is trying to kill everyone and take over the planet with other machines, basically. And you also learn that Sylens actually helped Hades create his cult and set his plan into motion. Sylens is a very interesting character, as he's not really a friend nor a foe. Sure, he helps Aloy, but it's only to gain knowledge himself. So he's helping her to basically use her like he did with Hades before Hades eventually betrayed him. So near the end of the game, Aloy is able to build a lance from Sylens to help kill Hades in the final battle, and if you do all the side missions and everything else and help the other main characters in the game, they will come to the final battle and help you. So the final battle does live up to the hype. It is very entertaining, it's fun to play through, and you defeat Hades, or supposedly, because at the end credits, there is a cutscene that shows Hades escaping and finding his way back to Sylens. Hence, Horizon Forbidden West released last year to continue the story. I don't know anything about that story, but I plan on playing that game eventually. So like I said, the story was interesting. It was interesting to piece together these puzzles to what happened to the world to make it what it is today, and watching Aloy discover who she is and who Elizabeth Sobek is. It was entertaining, and Aloy had some cool character development. It was cool to see her gain the respect of her tribe and become very powerful, and learn that, hey, she's not just this banished, outcast person of the Nora tribe, she's actually the freaking chosen one. So to finish up with the gameplay and a little bit more about the world, combat is fun. Like the weapons, there's also a ton of variety when it comes to the machines. They come in different shapes and sizes, they have different attacks, different weak points, and they all represent real animals. You're going to recognize some machines that look like bears, deer, even like pterodactyls from the prehistoric times. And you actually have to strategize on how to take out these machines. You'll have to learn which weapons and ammo types, like I said earlier. It's also important to buy better gear and upgrade your weapons and outfits with modifications over time. That way, as you advance farther in the game, you can take on those tougher enemies, because at the end of the game, and even in the DLC, for whatever reason, you fight the bigger and tougher machines like most of the time, and those battles do get very time consuming, so that's maybe one little complaint about the gameplay mixed in with the stories as well, where it's like, oh my god, I'm fighting this one machine that literally could take 15 minutes to kill just because of how much health it has, and you have to be very accurate with where you're hitting your arrows and bolts on these machines. And looting the machines is very important because they give you resources that help you craft other things, or you could sell those to get more shards, which is the currency in the game. And what I liked most about this game was that everything felt worth it. The story felt worth playing through and discovering the mystery, even if I did get bored of the holograms and long dialogue scenes with the AI, Sylens, and other characters, but the gameplay was always fun. The side quests were cool enough, even though they got repetitive and seemed bland at times. Something always seemed to make up for it, though. Some of the dialogue was really cool, you met some really cool characters, or just seeing how some of these mini-stories would play out, it was definitely worth going through it. Exploring the map also was fun. This was a map worth traveling around and exploring because it had different biomes, different areas. The terrains weren't the same. It wasn't all forest and all dry, or it wasn't all desert, or it wasn't all rainy and jungles, or even all snow. You had a little bit of everything. And one of the most common things you find in open world games are collectibles. And I usually roll my eyes when games ask you to run around picking up things just for achievements or trophies, but in Horizon, it actually makes it worthwhile. So in the main game, there's 4 types of collectibles to find: Vantage Points, Ancient Vessels, Metal Flowers, and Banuk Artifacts. Vantage Points really just give you more story narration about the world from this guy, so I mean, those you can look past. But collecting the vessels, flowers, and artifacts allows you to sell them to merchants to get shards, which is the currency of the game, or even more modifications for your weapons and outfits. So being rewarded for doing this is awesome, not just to get another trophy if you're on PlayStation or when you're playing an Xbox game to level up your achievement score. I really wish more open world games would do this, to where if you do the side activities, it's worthwhile because they give you something that can maybe help you as you continue to play the game. And I played a lot of this game. I put 70 hours in. And yes, I did grow a bit tired, especially near the end, because that's a lot of time. But honestly, it's on me for trying to complete this game 100%, which I did, and I don't feel bad about it. Horizon is one of those few open world games that it really is worth going throughout all of it. I'd rate this game an 8 out of 10 based on the story being interesting. I just wish the missions did not feel repetitive and there was a little bit of variety in how you find out these clues and piece together this puzzle. But really where this game shines is the gameplay being so unique and the machine types that keep you constantly changing your strategy and weapons. If you are like me and have been considering playing this game years later, then I would say go for it. It's totally worth it. So thanks again for watching the review. Be sure to like and subscribe to help out the channel in any way you can. I would be very grateful. You can also find me on Twitter and TikTok at analyzethis_YT. Thanks again for checking out the video, and take care.